I believe it's almost the end of June already.
Yeah, oh yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the Common Council to order.
Yeah.
I'll ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderman Root. Here. Stefanski.
Here.
Talley.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chaplesky. Here. Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
And Reinke.
Here.
That's 10 present.
We have a quorum. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by Alderman Rote.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to item D on our agendas, we have one public hearing this evening. I'll ask our clerk to read the public hearing.
Ordinance to repeal and recreate subsection 12.45 M1 Manufacturing District of the revised municipal code and to create a new subsection called Industrial Districts with a light industrial district and heavy industrial district. Definitions being updated in section 12.06 of the revised municipal code relative to certain industrial uses.
Thank you. Mr. Stiebel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of the public hearing is to review our proposal to create a new zoning district within the existing industrial district or manufacturing district, differentiating between an M1 and an M2, and I'll get to that in just a minute. One being light industrial, one being heavy industrial. This matter will be taken up tonight as the public hearing only, and then it'll be referred to committee probably in July, but that'll be subject to the chairman of the committee. Our zoning code hasn't been updated since 1995 and is in the process of being updated, but this evening we're only be looking at the industrial aspects of the current zoning code. Things that are going to be changed are going to be language update. We're going to be changing the format of it so we have more visual aids and charts, and then we're also going to delineate between light and heavy industrial. In the future, we'll be coming back with the help of our city attorney, creating a zoning, overall new zoning ordinance and interactive functions and mapping. And we'll make it so that you can look at your cell phone and click and get information faster and quicker so that it's more business friendly. The light industrial, we're calling low intensity, non-nuisance, that kind of a thing, something that is unobtrusive generally, that we call light manufacturing. Heavy manufacturing is currently allowed in our M1 zoning district, but now we're going to define it in two and limit it to where it can be done. And these are like large-scale facilities. For example, Quad Graphics might be one. Now they don't create noise or dust or pollution so much as they just have lots of traffic. And we'll be talking about that as we get into the details at a later date on the zoning ordinance. Batch plants and that sort of stuff is the thing that we're trying to create a special zoning district for. Solid waste transfer stations, some of the uses that you really wouldn't want to have next to a residential area. Also, the zoning code format, don't worry about the wording here, but we're going to be using categories and specifics, and then we divide them into M1 and M2. Some of them will be special uses, some of them will be permitted uses, but in every district, they're going to have a special use standard that they're going to have to make in addition to site and landscaping and architectural review by the Common Council. And that will be delineating a lot of things like outdoor storage and erosion control and water usage for dust and that sort of thing. So we'll get into a much more specificity just through the zoning code themselves so they have a heads up early on what the conditions they're going to have to deal with other than site landscaping and architectural review by the Plan Commission. This map in yellow shows the existing areas that have uses that would be considered heavy manufacturing, truck terminals, unit drop forge, Allis Chalmers, the old Siemens power plant area, the city's refuge transfer station over at the eastern city border. Those are the kinds of uses that would certainly make today as a heavy use. Now, we'll take a look at when we do the zoning map as do we want to continue to have those uses in there. As an example, we could keep Allis Chalmers. They have large manufacturing in there. Do we want to change the use of that? Now would be a good time. They could still remain zoned M1, but if they become vacant for a year, that use could not go back in there, but M1 could be if it was a M2 zoning district. Also, in terms of the city's comprehensive plan, it meets 4 of the 5 criteria that we try to strive for: forward-thinking, a holistic approach to health and safety. On economic development, it makes it easier for businesses to navigate the city's regulatory process, and it also improves the city's government services, becoming more transparent and user-friendly. The Plan Commission has reviewed this concept and has recommended approval. And if you have additional questions, I can be glad to answer them.
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Weigel?
John, I just wanted to confirm something that we've seen in the past with the rezonings. This would only affect these properties going forward. So if someone's currently operating in an area doing a certain thing, the current rezoning wouldn't, we're not kicking anybody out with any of these rezonings.
That would be correct. Every use is currently grandfathered in.
And
they
even
can
if
stay
they
there,
were,
they can expand within the borders of that property. But if it should become vacant for over a year, then it would lose its grandfather.
yeah, that was the next thing I just wanted to confirm, that if they're closed for longer than a year, then the zoning goes away and would revert to whatever the new zoning is. Because I know I'm going to get a call on this from.
Yeah, their grandfather status goes away. The zoning stays the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderperson Rankin?
John, will any of the properties be grandfathered in that are currently under manufacturing?
Yes. Every use that's currently out there today will be able to function legally on that spot just the way they have.
Okay.
Now, they may not be able to buy additional adjacent property and expand into that use, but they could continue to operate on that function. Now, for example, a heavy manufacturer buys adjacent property, but they may put some light industrial use in there. That may be something that we would look at to permit. But the uses itself would stay the
Okay.
same.
If they vacate that property, then what happens?
If it's vacant for more than a year, then it loses its grandfather status.
I see. Thank you.
Any other questions from the members of the Common Council?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Vitale?
John, I have a question in reference, say if an industrial company that has been doing business, whether it's 10 years, 40 years, or 50 years in West Allis, per se, the next door is zoned differently, not a heavy manufacturing. So, and they're wishing to expand their operations. So, we're going to say no or deny the fact that for them to expand their operations, maybe create more jobs? That's one thing that I...
Sure. For example, let's take unit drop forge. Let's say
Yes.
that was going to be eventually, it's now, we would say it was heavy manufacturing, it would be an M2. If they wanted to buy an adjacent parcel and have, say, operate a CNC machine in there, a little separate function, that they could. They probably couldn't put another big 20-ton hammer on that adjacent parcel. They could do it within the confines of their current property lines.
Okay, thanks, John.
Thank you, Alderman. Are there any other questions from the council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick?
John, I'd just like to clarify, though, if an industry wanted to expand and the council chose to rezone the adjacent parcel to heavy manufacturing, that would be allowed.
That's certainly correct.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, are there any questions from the members of the audience? Seeing no questions from the audience, we will close our public hearing. We will now move to item E on the agenda, which is citizen participation. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the council. Each speaker must announce their name and address, sign in at the podium, and limit their comments to one statement of no more than 5 minutes. Does anybody wish to address the council under citizen participation?
Good evening, members of the Common Council, Mayor, and members of the community. My name is Pooja Dhaliwal. I'm from 10910 West Greenfield Avenue. I'm the co-owner of Walsh's Beer and Liquor Store located on 109th and Greenfield. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity and allowing me to share my concerns about the overissuance of liquor license by the City of West Allis, especially in our community. The application regarding 2019-2020 combination Class A liquor application of the Spring West LLC doing business as Pantry 41105 for the premises located on 105th and Greenfield Avenue, which is a new non-existing location, was submitted and presented before the Common Council. My husband has already shared our thoughts in an email, so I don't want to sound redundant, but I believe as a member of this community, it is very important to bring it to your attention so that a sound decision can be made. By issuance of this license within less than 1 mile of an already existing combination Class A liquor license doing business as Walsh's Beer and Liquor, which is located on 109th and Greenfield, is going to have a significant impact on both the character and economic future of the business and the community. The currently licensed store is very well meeting the demands of the community from last 70 years. This is not a new store that just came into existence a few years ago. We are talking about a history and a responsible service to many, many generations of our community. The issuance of this new license in such close proximity of an existing combination Class A liquor license counters the City of West Allis's commitments to its local small businesses, which are socially responsible and committed to providing quality service to the area residents. I would consider this very unfair to the business which has served the area and community for over 70 years. I verbally surveyed the community members who raised their concerns regarding allowing another license in such close proximity, which may lead to higher exposure to liquor stores, easy availability of alcohol in the community, public health issues, safety, and ultimately negatively impacting the quality of the life of residents of our community. Moreover, allowing a liquor into gas stations makes it more readily accessible to everyone, including minor children. Each municipality, city, village, or town in the Wisconsin state has the authority to license or to refuse a license to retail outlets to sell alcohol beverages, beer, wine, and distilled spirits within their community. Municipalities have the authority to cease issuing additional alcohol licenses at any time. There is no right to alcohol license in the state of Wisconsin. This is per University of Wisconsin Law School article released on June 30th, 2010. It's called Outlet Density. Selling alcohol is a privilege granted by municipal government, and state laws allow a license to be denied for any reason, as long as the reason is provided in writing to the applicant. A municipality may impose limits on issuing new licenses to reduce alcohol outlet density. For example, the City of Madison created an alcohol density zone with significant limitations on new licenses and alcohol sales. The City of Racine placed moratorium on new licensed Class A retail outlets in Racine, believing that the area had sufficient outlets to purchase alcohol for off-premise use. Convenience stores, gas stations, and drugstores often sell alcohol, though it's not their primary business. These outlets often rely upon young, low-wage workers who may be susceptible to requests from friends and other underage youth looking to purchase alcohol illegally. Studies have shown that sales of gasoline and alcohol at one location is incompatible. I think the City of West Allis must look into analyzing this information as well. The municipality may adopt guidelines or an ordinance prohibiting the sale of gasoline by Class A licensees or adopt guidelines against issuing alcohol licenses to locations selling gasoline. Municipalities are free to establish a numerical ceiling, and it is my understanding, I did check, the city
You have 30 seconds.
West Allis has 30 licenses limit, which simply refrains from issuing additional licenses for Class A licenses. So I urge you to please take an action before it is too late. For better future of our youth, you may want to cease to issue additional licenses or require a specific portal-to-portal distance between the licensed outlet. We, the citizens of the community, look up to you as a sound decision-making body who not only will understand the problem in depth, but would also find a solution and resolve it for betterment of our community. I believe and trust that we citizens place the trust in you, and we as small business owners and members of the community, you will watch out for our interest and also make sure that your policies or decisions do not set us up for failure. In the end, I would like to thank you again for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation. Moving on to item F on the agenda tonight. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. The room numbers for those meetings are listed on the bottom of page 1 of your agendas. Moving to item G, I do not have a mayor's report this evening, so we'll go right to item H. Does any member of the Common Council have an alderperson's report?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
I just want to bring up a couple of recent events I attended. Last week, Thursday, we had a neighborhood meeting regarding the application for a behavioral health hospital in the first district on 68th and Mitchell. I recognize that several of the other aldermen were there, and I know we heard a lot from the potential hospital staff or management as well as the neighbors. It was good to have people come out and share their ideas. I want to thank the people who came out. Also, an hour and a half ago, we had a meeting from the West Allis Community Improvement Foundation where the results from the gala that was held in March, or the fundraising gala that was in March, the Community Improvement Foundation held for the dog park, and the net proceeds to the dog park program ended up being $13,000. So the foundation was very happy. Obviously, the dog park people are very happy. It's a new high number for them recently for the gala. I believe it was very well attended, and I think we all had a lot of fun. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't March, it was April. Thank you, Alderman Stefanski. That's all I have, thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Are there any other alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of June 4th, 2019.
Second.
We have a motion with a second by Alderman May. Are there any adjustments or amendments to the minutes? Corrections? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item J, I will ask for a motion to place item 3 on file and refer items 4 and 5 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item K, Alderman Haas, we have one A and F committee meeting item.
And I'll report that out after the recess.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meeting.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We are in recess.